Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new report ranks the Phoenix metro area as among the worst in the nation for ozone pollution. Also tonight, we'll take a look at how AI is reshaping cybersecurity. And an association looks to enhance accountability in the home care industry. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The American Lung Association released its 27th annual State of the Air report last week, and once again, Arizona didn't fare all that well, with the Phoenix metro area ranked 4th worst in the country for ozone pollution. Joining us now is Joanna Struthers. She's the American Lung Association Senior Director of Advocacy. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, it was released on Earth Day.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we're the 4th worst in terms of ozone pollution. We were the 4th worst last year, weren't we?
Yes, we were also 4th last year. However, what's different in this year's report is we actually had more days when ozone reached unhealthy levels in this year's report.
So it's the same but worse.
It's the same ranking, but worse. So we saw more days, which is worse for our health.
And we should mention LA Long Beach was the worst for ozone pollution. What is ozone pollution?
Sure. So ozone is actually created. It's a mix of volatile organic compounds and nitrous oxide. And when those chemicals are in the presence of sunlight and heat, that helps to form ozone.
And ozone is formed lower to the, because I know ozone's way up there.
Yes, so this is ground level ozone, so
Okay.
not the one created in the atmosphere, but here.
Can you see it? Can you smell it? Can you feel it?
Sometimes, so sometimes ozone is also referred to as smog, and certainly here, because we live in a valley, you can look out to the mountains sometimes and see that gray haze. That's ozone.
But that's not always ozone, is it? I mean, can ozone be there on a clear day?
Yes, so ozone sometimes you cannot see. So that's why it's always best to check your air quality forecast to see when ozone is high in the day.
And climate change is not doing us any favors, is it?
Climate change is definitely making the problem worse. It's creating more ozone, and it's making the burden harder to clean up.
Let's talk about other factors. Wildfires at play?
Yes, absolutely. So we are coming into wildfire season here in Arizona. Wildfires have become more catastrophic, which are definitely adding to the burdens here as well. And so when we look at wildfire, that we're looking at particulate matter, and specifically we call it PM 2.5 because it's an extremely fine particle. It's bigger than what dust is. Dust is PM 10, and that lodges very deep down into the lungs, causing a variety of breathing issues.
And because the Phoenix, we're in a basin here, we're surrounded by mountains, that's not helping matters.
Right, no. So usually we have ozone seasons. So we have a winter ozone season and a summer ozone season. In the winter, what happens is because we're here in a valley, we have weather inversion patterns. So we have cool air that stays down here in the valley and warm air that traps it. And when that air is polluted and comes stagnant, it can stay for hours, even days. So we'd be breathing in that polluted air for a longer time.
In terms of summer, though, it's because of that heat.
Yes, so heat definitely helps to add and cook ozone, which we like to say.
Yeah.
And ozone acts like a sunburn to the lungs, and it makes breathing difficult. Again, it can cause asthma attacks and other respiratory issues.
Does dust and the particulates that you referred to, do they impact ozone and vice versa?
They don't impact ozone. Obviously, dust is a different particle and also can cause breathing issues. Allergies is what we most like see with PM10.
So how did you do your testing? What was the process
Yes,
here?
so this is EPA quality assured data. So we have air quality monitors all over the state. They are overseen by EPA, state, local, even tribal officials. So it's really data from their sources, and we download it and we analyze it, and then we put it into a way that people can understand because it's very technical and complicated. But we want people to link that there is air pollution and it can harm your health.
You know, another factor here, and I find this fascinating because the EPA brings this up. EPA models they're trying to show only 20% of ozone pollution is man-made, and a lot of this stuff is coming in from Mexico and even China. Is that possible?
It is. It is possible. So air doesn't stay in one place. So there are even from California, and we had the wildfires in Canada. We saw that smoke all across the country, almost all the way to California. So yes, it does come from other sources, but there's a lot we can do here in Arizona to clean up as well.
And I want to get to that in a second here, but I want to ask you first, what does all this mean regarding health?
So regarding health, so again, ozone is like a sunburn to the lungs, while particle pollution is that particle that lodges deep down into the lungs. People have breathing issues, the itchy cough, watery eyes, but even with particle pollution, we can see people who have gotten lung cancer. We have higher incidences of asthma, cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke. And long-term exposure can eventually mean premature death.
Especially bad for the elderly and for kids, I would imagine?
Yes, and in this year's report, we're specifically calling out kids. They're our next generation, right? We need to ring the alarms that this is who air pollution is going to affect most.
Did I read that neurological disease is also a fact? How does that, what's that?
Yes, because our bodies and our systems are still growing. So the more exposure we have to air pollution, the more it can play on our neurological system, again, on our health system all in general.
So what should people do to protect themselves?
Sure. So they should definitely check their air quality forecast. They can head to airnow.gov, check the forecast, see it's not always going, sometimes it's fine, it's clean. We go outside and sometimes it reaches those unhealthy levels. And so check the forecast before you head out. We have a beautiful state, a beautiful city that people like to bike and run in. We were just talking about all of the nice stuff people like to do. Check that forecast and make sure that it's safe when you're heading outdoors.
When if it's the fork and you have a certain number, okay, and it looks pretty good, but the wind's supposed to kick up later on. Is the wind a good? Sometimes the wind clears the air. Sometimes the wind brings dust and problems.
Sure. So that's why it's best to check the forecast because, again, it could be bringing in some horrible particles, maybe from a wildfire that's in California or somebody else. So we want to check that.
So last question, where do you go to check this? What do you do?
Yes. So for more information on the report, you can head to lung.org, find out the state of your air where you're living. And again, if you want to check your air quality forecast, you can head to airnow.gov.
All right, Joanna Struther, American Lung Association, another survey. One of these days we're going to bring you in. It's going to be great news all around.
I hope so, yes. Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Donate your car, truck, or boat today. And in addition to supporting the programs you love, you'll also qualify for our most popular member benefit, PBS Passport. With Passport, you can watch incredible documentaries and dramas from Masterpiece, American Experience, Ken Burns, Henry Louis Gates Jr., Nova, Nature, and more. So skip the hassle of selling that car you don't use anymore. Go online or give us a call right now to donate your vehicle. And thanks.
I'm Scott Yu. Iceland, volcanic land of extremes, produces some of the best music and composers in the world. Come with me on Now Hear This to unravel the mystery of the Iceland sound. On Great Performances.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
State-sponsored hackers from China used AI technology in a reported cyber attack late last year. The attack was an effort to get into the computer systems of more than 24 companies and governmental agencies around the world. The incident is prompting cybersecurity experts to warn that new and more powerful AI systems are changing the nature of cybersecurity. And to learn more, we welcome Nadia Bliss. She's Executive Director of ASU's Advanced Capabilities for National Security Institute. Well, that's a healthy title you got there, but this is a pretty big topic too. So this was the first reported AI-assisted, AI-directed.
So let me jump into it a little bit. First of all, thanks for
Sure.
having me on and bringing up this topic. This topic is incredibly timely. So in addition to the news at the end of last year, there's also been the Mythos preview model released by Anthropic recently. Has it been the first? It's probably not the first, but this has gotten significant amount of visibility because the rate at which these models can identify vulnerabilities and exploit them are basically at the level of expert hackers.
My goodness.
Yeah.
This attack, and it might have been happening right now, these attacks, are they AI assisted? How much human interaction is involved?
Yeah, so this is, that's a phenomenal question. So there has been a fundamental shift in this landscape, probably in the last year or so, where essentially something that used to require an expert human hacker now doesn't require a human in the loop at all. And that's a significant novel capability. So essentially now what that means is AI tools have to be adopted for cyber defense, both just in order to be able to mitigate this kind of incident.
I was going to say, if it's an AI attack, I would imagine the best defense is more AI?
It's not necessarily more AI. I think it's maybe carefully deployed AI. So something that has been changing. So AI, we've talked about this before on the show previously. AI has been in development for decades. I mean, I remember being a teaching assistant for an artificial intelligence course more than 20 years ago at Cornell. But with these transformative capabilities, there's been an inflection point. So the adoption and penetration of these systems and basically all of the computing systems around us has created this very different type of attack environment and defense environment. So you can think of it as a very scary thing because attackers now don't need sophisticated hacking knowledge. But at the same time, it can also be a pretty positive thing because defenders can build those defenses. So trying to be like a tiny bit optimistic.
Yes. Well, it sounds as though it's who gets to the flaw first. Is it a race to see who gets there first?
So essentially what there has been forever is this field of vulnerability detection. So people, hackers, not always in hoodies and not always in the basements, would sit and identify vulnerabilities in code, and then they would notify companies, systems of those vulnerabilities, and then those vulnerabilities would be patched. This entire process basically can now be automated. And that essentially what is happening. So, if you're a bad person, I was going to say a bad guy, but you can be a bad woman as well, or a person, you essentially can identify those vulnerabilities and exploit them. But if you're a good actor, you can identify those vulnerabilities and patch them. And the goal here is to patch them before they are exploited.
Yeah. Again, who gets there first?
Exactly.
What if you're a bad AI? I mean, can AI just basically say, I got nothing to do today. I'm going to go see if I think there's a flaw over here. I'm going to go I mean, at what point do these things just run wild? So I want
to be a little careful here because, AI, it doesn't have, it's not like a live thing. It's a bunch of math and code and equations. So it still has to be deployed. But that said, what you bring up is actually a brilliant point. There have to be guardrails around those systems. And having a human in the loop to just kind of check where those systems are interacting, I think is a very important audit aspect.
Can you be, again, a bad actor that devises, tells AI or instructs AI or programs and codes AI to go around that human?
It becomes kind of a traditional engagement, right? If you can build something that goes around, you build a fence that prevents you from going around. I do think, though, just coming back to the point you're making, I think we're in this very interesting moment that has distinct parallels to early 2000s when everything got connected to the internet. Now everything is getting deployed with AI systems and amplified with AI systems. And I think it's a really important moment to say, how do we ruggedize these systems?
And that's why we wanted to hear from you, because it sounds as though, again, the very nature of cybersecurity is changing.
It's fundamentally changing. It's fundamentally changing from a perspective that now you do not need to be a sophisticated hacker to deploy a sophisticated attack. Again, I think if you often ask me for predictions,
yes.
and I often don't like to give them.
Yes.
But in this particular case, what I think the path that we're on is, I think it's going to be a little bumpy, but in the long term, I think we can build more secure systems because there's ability to detect those vulnerabilities in code before the code is deployed. So you no longer are deploying buggy, vulnerable code.
But again, and I want to make sure I get this right, AI always seemed like it was limited by the skills of the person programming and using the AI.
Yeah.
Have we jumped that particular hurdle? I mean, is AI looking at us in the rearview mirror now?
I don't think quite yet, predominantly because it is still doing nonlinear statistical prediction. So if it encounters something it has never seen, it doesn't really have data
I see.
to figure it out. So what never seen is very different for an artificial intelligence than it is for a human, right? We see something and we forget it immediately. AI kind of always remembers. But we're not really there where it's sort of self-actualized.
Last question before you go, and keep it brief if you could, because we're running out of time, but I could talk to you about this all day.
Yeah.
You're optimistic, and that's good, but what worries you the most?
What worries me the most is that we make exactly the same mistakes as we did in the early 2000s. In 2000s, we focused on deploying capability without thinking about security. I think we have a chance to be much more secure this time. We'll see if we will be.
Nadia Bliss, Advanced Capabilities for National Security Institute at ASU. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
In the 1770s, when the American Revolution rumbled thousands of miles away, the Gila River flowed wide and strong through what we now call Arizona. For the Alcomedawatam, the river people, the Gila was life. Generations of Alcomedawatam farmers built an intricate network of irrigation canals, including their ancestors, the Hohokam. They harvested from fertile riverbanks and fished in its waters. The river wasn't just a source of food. It was central to ceremony, trade, and identity. But over the next century, change came swiftly. As settlers arrived in the 1800s, upstream dams and diversions began to slow the flow. Much of the Gila's water was claimed before it could reach the Alcomedawatam's fields. The once thriving agricultural system of the river people suffered devastating losses. Through the 20th century, the Gila River was reshaped by reservoirs, canals, and legal battles over water rights. Today, the Gila still flows, but differently. Decades of advocacy has restored some water to the Alcomedawatam, allowing them to revive traditional crops and cultural practices. The river remains a reminder of resilience, adaptation, and the deep ties between water and people in the desert. From a lifeline in the 1770s to a contested resource in modern Arizona, the Gila River story is more than geography. It's a testament to survival. And for the river people, its flow carries the past, nourishes the present, and shapes the future.
Tell by
Most states require a license for non-medical in-home care agencies. Arizona is not one of them. That means there is no state regulatory body or governmental agency to oversee non-medical home care services. The Arizona In-Home Care Association is looking to fill that regulatory gap, and Steve Alfonsi is the board president of the Arizona In-Home Care Association. Boy, you guys and all your titles out here today. It's been a long show for all that stuff, but congratulations on getting this done, because I think from what I'm finding out here, this is something that the state could have been doing but is not doing. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's true, and thank you very much for the opportunity and to be here and share a little bit more about our association. Yeah, so a lot of states do have a license in place, but there's not one here. And ultimately, that's why the Arizona In-Home Care Association, we took it upon ourselves. We created this association to put some ethics, standards, and some guidelines around this to provide and the safety for that of one of the vulnerable populations, for the seniors.
So you're a de facto regulatory agency, so to speak.
Correct, yeah, and we're not just an association that just collects dues. We actually have a variety of things that are in place for a large group of companies that have all decided to be part of this association to help protect that of the seniors.
And this is for non-medical care, correct?
That is correct, yeah. So that is sometimes quite the misunderstanding. There is what's called home health. Home health is made up of a prescribed service. So when you think about an individual that might be discharged out of the hospital, needing physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, that is separate, and that is a licensed body and service. We are part of a home care association and group providing more around the activities of daily living. As we all age, certain things become a little bit more challenging, whether it's hygiene, dressing, bathing, all those different things, and that's where then the caregiver services come in.
And you don't have to go too far on this, but I'm kind of curious about your opinion here. Yeah. Where's the state in here? Why isn't the state involved?
Yeah, I'm not really here to get into that. It's really becomes a challenging and tough conversation. But over the years and historically, Arizona has been really pro-business. And within that, there's a variety of different things of not getting into a lot of different regulations. And that's why we've created our own association to help provide a difference. And there definitely are some things that we do that is required in our group.
So you got system of standards for home care agencies, correct?
That is correct.
You got a system of certification as well. Talk about that.
Yeah, so each company that is part of our association, some of the requirements once they, through the application process, some of the things that they have to have in place is workers' comp. So you think about that, all those caregivers are going out there. If something was to happen, and if they're separately hired by an individual, then ultimately there could be a workers' comp case. Homeowners insurance is not going to cover that. So with part of our group, you have to have workers' comp, general liability insurance, professional liability, and do background on the employee.
Interesting. And what about consumer accountability?
Yes. And so we do the same thing. So we ultimately are trying to watch out of all individuals that are involved, whether it be from the clients, the caregivers, and a variety of individuals to protect everybody that's involved.
So as far as standards are, I want to go back to standards here. How do you define standards, and how do you make sure standards are being met?
Yep. So each individual, or company, and we have a little over 100 plus companies that are part of the association, through the application process, they have to furnish a variety of different things, and then through that, then our association and our ethics committee and group will verify and validate that those things are in place. And then ongoing each year, we'll continue to follow them as long as that making sure that all those things are staying true. In addition to which, we also always tell them, the consumers that are out there getting services, if they do run into a bad player in the industry, notify us. We are there as an association to help out as well.
And you're watching out for ethics, you're watching out for hiring, watching out, again, for consumer protection, watching out for all those things?
We are, yes. I mean, you think about it, the senior population is very vulnerable. And a lot of times individuals relocate here, or they have family members residing in other states. They're just assuming and thinking that every state is the same, and that's not true. And so ultimately, we have to create this association to watch out for the best interest of not only just for those that we're providing care for and creating a difference, but then along with that of even the employees that are part of the group.
For these standards and this certification that's involved, how is it being assessed? Who is doing the assessing and who's assessing the assessors?
Yeah, so that's where within the association, we do have a group and we have an ethics committee. And so that's why, once again, we're not state regulated, we're self-regulated. And so that's where individuals such as myself, being the board president, and a variety of other individuals, we're actively involved, volunteering our time to keep a good eye out on what's going on within the marketplace.
How tough is that accreditation?
You know, it's accreditation. It is tough because a lot of times, companies have a choice, and ultimately that's why I ask all of them to be part of this group. When you think about it, they're choosing not to carry general liability insurance. They're choosing not to have workers' comp. They're choosing not to background. So ultimately, what we're trying to do, is consistently and go through inviting others to be part of this association and bringing awareness also to that of the hospital systems and others when they do refer over and needing care, that ultimately they do ask those proper questions or consider a company within the Arizona In-Home Care Association.
And that's what I was going to ask as well. Accreditation is one thing, but this is kind of a way to say, this agency is here, this agency wants nothing to do with you. Maybe there's a reason they want nothing to do with you.
And quite often that is, whether it be from a financial aspect that they're just trying to do for their own personal needs or gains, but ultimately within our association, our purpose is really centered around patient-centered care and doing what's best for the individual.
So someone's watching this right now, and there's the in-home care, non-medical in-home care for a relative, for a friend, neighbor, friend, whatever. What are the best questions that they should ask, besides finding out if they're part of your group there?
Yeah, true, I agree. That's the first thing they should do is go to our website at aznha.org. But if they're not doing that, then ask the questions. A lot of times it becomes a little bit of a marketing piece where individuals will come out, they'll sit with the family and say, yes, we background check. A follow-up question, do you background check everybody? Another question is, they'll say, do you carry insurance? They might say, yes, we carry insurance. But then you ask, is it workers' comp? Is it general liability? Who are you protecting? Because you really need to dive in and ask those questions. Never just assume for the safety of your loved one.
All right, Steve Alfonsi, Arizona In-Home Care Association. I got it. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. Yeah. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening. I like to think that at Arizona Horizon we are unique in the way that we present information, public policy, sometimes news, these sorts of things, because we have conversations, and I don't want conversations